Hello everyone and welcome to yet another fresh episode of Soccer Stories, where we'll talk about the 1950 World Cup held at Brazil. Maracanazo, Rio de Janeiro and Brazil are so closely intertwined with football fans globally. In 1950, they were thirsting for a game, particularly after those lost 12 years during which the 1942 and 1946 World Cups were cancelled owing to the World War II. And look how it unfolded magnificently. Brazil, who were awarded the hosting rights as early as 1946 by FIFA, wanted some time to build the stadium of their dreams. It was no less than 2 lakh in capacity when they unveiled the Estadio do Maracanazo for the 4th edition of the World Cup, which surprised not just FIFA but the fans too. The average attendance at the newly built Maracanazo was recorded at 61,000 per game, in which Brazil was featured, while the average attendance was 37,500 per game in others, which impressed FIFA as well. As in the first 3 editions, this one too had several firsts apart from the biggest stadium in the world. India was to compete but turned down the offer over funds despite FIFA's offer to take it up partially. England came out of its self-imposed exile, and then again the host Brazil was the overwhelming favourite. It was also the first time that the World Cup trophy was named Jules Rimet Cup to celebrate the silver jubilee of the Frenchman's presidency of FIFA. But there was an anticlimax. Even the final was a 4-team league and the only time to do so. Needing only a draw after 2 dominating wins over Sweden and Spain in the 4-team final league, Brazil conceded to Uruguay, the champions of the inaugural 1930 edition, despite taking a lead. But in the end, the hosts were stunned to a silence after a 2-1 loss. Just imagine the heartbreak of the fun-loving and boisterous home fans. One account makes us believe, and understandably too, which said at least a little over 2 lakh fans witnessed the final match. Initially, FIFA wanted a 16-team affair, including the automatic berths, to host Brazil and defending champions Italy. Of these, 7 were allocated to Europe, 6 to the Americas and 1 to Asia. In Asia, India got the chance by default as Philippines, Indonesia and Burma all withdrew. Instead of seizing the golden chance, the All India Football Federation decided to withdraw, citing a lack of funds after turning down FIFA's offer to help them financially. There was another story going around these days. It was the first World Cup which did not allow barefoot players, and Indians, having never played wearing boots, refused to budge. FIFA and Rimet burnt the midnight oil to persuade countries to play, as most of them were recovering from World War II, which also shattered the economy of many countries. Germany and Japan were banned from taking part for political reasons. In Europe, Austria's plan to field a very young team was ruled out, and Belgium also withdrew, while Switzerland and Turkey took their places directly without playing the qualifying matches. Later, Turkey, citing financial woes like India, pulled out at the last minute without giving time for FIFA to bring replacement teams. France, like Turkey, pulled out without giving notice, citing the halt to reach Brazil. East European countries, led by erstwhile Soviet Union, the 1934 finalist Czechoslovakia and 1938 finalist Hungary, too refused to join the fray for obvious reasons. Scotland withdrew, citing some whimsical reason. Initially, Italy also did not want to defend their title, as they were mourning the death of their playing 11 team who died during an aeroplane accident in 1949. However, FIFA convinced Italy that being defending champions, the absence would be noticed in a different way, and they finally arrived on a ship with a very young squad. Among the 5 countries from the Americas, Argentina withdrew due to some misunderstanding with the Brazilian Football Federation, but not a political one. Ecuador and Peru withdrew for other reasons. Chile, Bolivia, Paraguay and Uruguay took their places. In the end, the fourth edition of the World Cup kicked off with 13 instead of 16 teams. Bolivia, the host Brazil, Chile, England, 1934 and 38 champions Italy, Mexico, Paraguay, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, United States, and the 1930 champions Uruguay were in the fray. The main reason to introduce a new format and a maximum of league matches was to help Brazil, which as hosts had invested massively on infrastructure. The government hoped tourism and gate money would recoup its investment to an extent. So, the 13 teams were divided into 4 groups, with winners making it to a final group stage where a round-robin format will pave the way for the final showdown. The league format, unlike in the earlier editions where only 16 games would be played, guaranteed 30 games and revenue from ticket sales. Moreover, the league format also promised 3 games per team, which was welcomed by most teams, particularly the Europeans, even though FIFA initially wanted and insisted to play the tournament on a knockout basis. Debutants England, who fielded a strong team, crashed out in the first round loss, succumbing to both the United States and Spain by an identical verdict of 0-1. The shockwaves continued to overflow when defending champions Italy too was shown the door by Sweden 3-2. Brazil, Spain, Sweden, and the 1930 champions Uruguay made it to the final group to decide the eventual winner. All the final group 6 matches were played in Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, while all the Brazilian matches were played at the Estadio do Maracana, as Rio and Sao Paulo hosted the non-Brazilian matches. The hosts, who had scored 23 and conceded only 4 goals, were to emerge hot favourites as they routed Sweden 7-1 and drubbed Spain 6-1 in the first 2 matches. Head-to-head, Brazil had also posted 2 wins over Uruguayans, needing only a draw against Uruguay in the final league match, and before a sellout delirious crowd at Maracana, Brazil took the lead through Friaca 2 minutes after a barren first half. This was equalized by Juan Schiaffino in the 66th minute before Alcides Gigia struck the all-important goal in the 79th minute and naturally leading a pall of silence envelope over the majestic Maracana. The defeat was later dubbed Maracanazo, which was translated would mean the blow of Maracana. That's all for today's episode. Stay tuned to Striking Seconds for more soccer stories. Hasta la vista.